Eileen.
Here we are, Eileen. Come on, then. Eileen. What are you saying, Eileen, in my ear for?
You said, "Come on." I said, "I don't know." Midnight Runner.
Okay.
The child of the '80s, dude. I don't know. You say, "Come on," I'm gonna say Eileen.
Okay. Which is the punchline of a lot of dirty jokes. Anyway, hi everyone. Welcome to American Sex Live. I'm Sunny
Megatron.
Why do you do that?
I'm Ken Melhoinberg.
We're sexuality educators.
We're married.
Yeah, pleasure advocates and kinky perverts too. No, what's happening today? Anyway, this is American Sex Live. We are the host of a podcast called American Sex that drops every Monday on places like Spotify and iHeartRadio and Apple Podcasts and all that fun stuff. But this is different. Oh, no. This is different content. On Wednesday nights here on Get Vocal, we've got American Sex Live, where we give you different content. We sometimes have guests that are sexuality educators. Sometimes it's us. We tend to be a little teachy and visual. Look, I have my pussy puppet, Clementine. Yes, Clementine the clam. Clementine the clam, but we call Clementine. Anyway, we'll get to fuzzy
Clementine's
pussies.
a bit dusty.
I know. We'll get to
gotta dust that pussy off.
Both. Anyway, so a bunch of housekeeping we got to do, aka ball washing, or maybe today, more appropriately, clit washing. Clit washing. It's been a day. Before we turned on the camera, we were just like, we're both really out of it. And we don't know why. So who knows? It, like, when you randomly were just like, Eileen, I was like, this is it. He's lost. Anyway, housekeeping time. Clit washing time.
Ball washing.
Those of you who are on Get Vocal, you may see in the chat.
We call it labia misting.
Labia misting, sure. You may see in the chat little share links. Go ahead and share that with your friends, and let them know to come on over, because we're gonna learn some new pussy tips and techniques. This is pleasing the pussy tonight, which we got a lot of good stuff for you. But you may be watching this on Periscope, which is Twitter, or YouTube Live, or Facebook Live, and that's perfectly fine. We're happy to have you. However, you are at a slight disadvantage. You see me talking about, the chat. And if you're like, I don't know what you're talking about, because I'm talking about the chat on Get Vocal. If you want to be part of the chat, talk with folks, also pop on camera to ask questions, you need to be on the Get Vocal platform. Wherever you're watching, there should be a link in the text above the little screen you're watching us on. Click on that. It'll take you over to Get Vocal. And if there's not a link for some reason, go to bit.ly/Sunny Get Vocal, spelled SUNNYGETVOKL. Another thing about joining us on Get Vocal is when this broadcast ends at 9 o'clock Pacific. I almost said specific, but I caught myself. At 9 o'clock specific. Well, it is specifically at 9 o'clock Pacific. We stay back and we have an after party, and that's when things get weird, and you can only be part of that after party when you're on Get Vocal. So come on over. We're part of a whole Wednesday night lineup, which is the Connection Zone, all shows about dating, sex, love, relationships, and all that stuff. And on Get Vocal, there are different themed nights. So Thursday is True Crime Thursday.
Thank you, Locash.
Thank you, Locash. Friday is not True Crime. Fandom Friday. French Fry Friday. I watched
Stir Friday.
Oh, Stir Fry. I'm hungry. But there's all sorts of, I think Tuesday might be Tasty Tuesday. Maybe.
Taco Tuesday.
Well, yeah.
Taco Tuesday,
it's
Wednesday,
Taco
Thursday.
Wednesday today because we got pussies.
Taco Wednesday.
So Lokesh on the Get Vocal app just dropped 50 V coins. What does that mean? It means if you like the content we provide you, and by the way, not just the content here on Get Vocal, almost all of the content that Ken and I create on many various different platforms, we give away free because we feel that these conversations are important. So when you support our work, you support our work everywhere. So if you want to, oh no, you got Facebook banned for sharing the link in your story, but 3 of your friends were able to share. That's weird. I spelled pussy.
Sorry.
I spelled pussy with $signs and put an asterisk in sex. Maybe they're onto me. I don't know. I'll have to see.
So sorry, Nisha.
Yeah. So wait, you got like banned? Like you can't. Oh, that's
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's not good.
Oh,
I'm
good.
sorry. Well, that's not good.
Well, no, it's not permanent.
Well, 24 hours.
Yeah, but
but the next time it'll be 3 days. Then it'll be
man, I'm
a
so
week.
sorry.
Then it'll be a month. Then it'll be forever. So
Nisha, this is part of the world of the sex educator at this point. Like, and I'm so sorry that we like shared that and you got in trouble for it. It's very difficult for us to advertise anywhere, and sometimes we cross thresholds without even knowing it.
Yeah. So that sucks. But
so sorry.
V-Coins. You can press the little blue diamond and give us V-Coins, which is like a little tip, buy us a coffee, or you can visit our Patreon, patreon.com/AmericanSex. And if you become a member, you get stickers and all sorts of perks. I'm going to paste some links here in the chat on Get Vocal. One is our Patreon I just mentioned. Secondly, our Discord community, our sex positive community is absolutely free. So come on and join. That's bit.ly/DiscordASP. And then the third thing is a link to a diagram of the internal clitoris, because you're going to need to know that shit. So click on it and keep it open in a tab, or like maybe when we're done, click on it later to really study all the details. Did I get everything? I think did I get it all? I feel like I'm missing something, but I got most of it. I think Eileen. I don't know. I think we're good. So let's get started with pussies.
All right, let's talk. So Sunny and I are history geeks, and one of the things that we like to do is talk sometimes about the history or biology behind whatever the technique or like bondage practice that we're discussing. And today I think that we're going to take a look at some of the biology behind cunnilingus. Now, it's interesting that out of all of the species of mammals, only human beings have any kind of oral sex for pleasure. Now, there are a couple of species that you might have heard of that use cunnilingus, but they do it as an act of dominance, specifically female hyenas, cetaceans, like bottlenose dolphins, like a variety of different sorts of dolphins do that, fruit bats, and bonobos all do it for dominance. And it's primarily female dominant cultures, or not cultures, but female dominant animals. So they're like a matriarchal animal. So like hyenas, in order to see who's the top, like the top female hyena, has the ones that are under her lick her labia.
I wouldn't mind being a hyena. Like, my minions, eat me out. Okay.
But humans and dolphins do it, but they're just kind of rapey. Like dolphins are awful.
Yeah.
Dolphins are awful. Like if you're like, there's a number of sexual assaults that get done by dolphins to divers.
Yeah.
Like it's best just to stay away from dolphins because they're horny and they're just,
dolphins
like, they'll hump sewer pipes. They'll hump anything that they can.
Dolphins need to definitely take a consent class. Yeah, they do.
They're smart, but they don't have consent.
Yeah.
Rapey
dolphins.
dolphins.
Okay, anyway, that's my new band name.
Rapey dolphins.
Is that it?
Yep, that's
okay,
it.
Cool. Not cool. I mean, not like see, it's just my mind today. Anyway, so today is gonna be it's pleasing the pussy. We're basically gonna talk about external ways of stimulating, which is cunnilingus and or hand sex are the main ways that we do this. And I use all sorts of words for that area. Just a reminder, not everybody who has a vagina, a pussy, whatever you want to call it, is a woman. It is not dependent on gender. I like to use the word, usually pussy or vagina is pretty, but call it what you want to call it. When it comes to people specifically with vaginas that were socialized as women, we have some of us have some psychological baggage that we have to work through. Oftentimes when I, ask people like, hey, who likes being eaten out? There are two very distinct camps. There are like, hell yeah. And then there's, nope, I don't want anyone to do it. It's not comfortable. I don't like it. I don't, and what you like is what you like. Not everybody's going to like everything. And that is perfectly fine. But what I do encourage people to do, if they have something that they don't like, something sexual or something of an erotic nature, that they're like, nope, not into that. I encourage you to examine why. Is it because you're like, that's just not my thing? Or is it because you've been, fed some societal baggage about what that means, or you hold shame around that thing? And I encourage you to do that, whether it's a sex act, whether it's a BDSM activity. Ask yourself why. Again, it's okay to not like things, but sometimes we push things away for, I don't know, baggage kind of reasons. So, when I talk to people who are like, I don't like cunnilingus, oftentimes it's because of things we've been told about our pussies. They're gross, they smell, that we don't want people's faces down there. If we're socialized as women, oftentimes we are socialized sexually to be the people who are not directly given pleasure. We're either the people who are, especially for in heterosexual relationships. This is specifically what I'm talking about. If you are a woman who's in a relationship with a man, oftentimes we're conditioned. It's like, oh, once the man has an orgasm, sex is over. It's very penis focused. So women in heterosexual relationships are conditioned to not have pleasure. So oftentimes it's uncomfortable to have somebody down there pleasing you because it's uncomfortable laying back, receiving all of the pleasure without guilt. And so be aware of some of those societal messages that we've been fed. There's lots of statistics, for example, in lesbian relationships. Way more orgasms, way more sexual satisfaction. And I can tell you that's because there aren't those very stereotypical heterosexual gender norms that are at play. So really think about also who is in charge when you are receiving oral. And I don't care what kind of parts you have, because it's the same for everyone. Some people think, when they are receiving oral, that they need to be the dominant one, like, yeah, get on in there and do. And the person giving is submitting to them. And if that makes you feel uncomfortable, that's not your jam. No, it doesn't have to be that way. You can absolutely, reverse those roles. Be the submissive one receiving. Maybe you're, I don't know, a treasure pet. Maybe you're,
Would it be a clam jam?
Clam jam. But I encourage you to really think about some of the psychological things around cunnilingus, and to analyze what sexual shame you hold and how that affects your enjoyment in that sex act and your ability to be uninhibited and to really enjoy. We have to feel safe to enjoy. We can't have those walls up and be like, oh, I smell, oh, it's gross, oh, ugh. So we need to work through that stuff. So with the smell bad and the taste bad, that's one of the shameful things that we have. And with the smell, vaginas are supposed to smell like vaginas. Granted, if it has a very fishy smell, there may be some kind of infection going on. Go see your doctor. It's not a big deal. Just go get it taken care of. But a lot of us, when we smell our natural kind of pungent, sweet pussy smell, we're conditioned to think that's wrong. That is not wrong. That is how you should smell. A lot of people who enjoy going down on pussies really like that taste and that smell. I do. Yeah. And if you're worried about the taste yourself. Put a finger down there and taste it, when you're by yourself or whatever. If that's something that makes you apprehensive, get to know yourself. And especially if you're someone who, a lot of us aren't that familiar with what goes on down there. Like, do what they tell you to do in sex ed class, like squat over a hand mirror and really get to know yourself. Know what it looks like from someone else's point of view. You know, I hate that this is a G.I. Joe quote, but knowing is half the battle. It really is.
That's awesome that it's a G.I. Joe quote.
Another reason that people feel ashamed about receiving oral sex is I take too long to come and my partner is going to get tired. I feel bad. I know I take too long to come. So when I think about that I take too long to come, then that makes me not come. And then it's like this vicious cycle. First of all, who cares? You know, some people take 45 minutes to come. Some people take 3 minutes to come. It doesn't matter. Also, the goal doesn't have to be coming. You know, it can just be enjoying the pleasure for what it is. It doesn't have to be orgasm goal oriented every time. So know from the giver's point of view, especially if you're a giver who does not have this kind of anatomy, so you don't have that relational point, know that these are very common shame points for people who have pussies. So reassure in those areas, you know, hey, take as long as you want. I love being down here. I love the way you taste. I love the way you smell. Like, give reassurance on those areas. Sometimes it seems like such a little thing, those comments, but they can go such a long way. And if you do hold shame, like, talk to your partner about it. Just say, like, these are the things that make me uncomfortable and I want to work on them. Can we work on them together? Again, that goes a long way. And know that if you think of these things, you're not alone. You're not broken. A lot of people, you know, we have when we're having sex, like the little in our heads, I have a blowjob voice, like the little voice in my head when I'm giving a blowjob, like, oh my God, my jaw hurts, you know, the narration that goes along in your head. A lot of us have that around receiving oral sex, and that's perfectly normal. Now,
wait, it's normal to hear voices in your head when
not your voice, not like, woo, it's the beginning of a psychological thriller, but you know, just the thoughts that run in your head. Now, one of the things is what about your partner? What if whatever issues you have surrounding oral sex have something to do with, like, a big one is your partner won't return the favor? Let's say you provide oral sex and your partner won't. And again, there are some things, like, if something genuinely squicks somebody out, I'm not going to be like, no, you have to get over that. But oftentimes, and again, this is often in heterosexual couplings, the person with the penis doesn't want to go down on the person with the vagina because all of the false bullshit that they've been fed by society. Don't listen. I mean, you know, go after what you want. Talk about it. And if your partner is not reciprocating in the way you want, and they're not being emotionally open and talking about it, you know, we're like, okay, maybe this is a genuine thing. There are plenty of fish in the sea. Okay. So lastly, and this is for, again, you know, I'm doing a lot of, like, stereotypical gendered baggage in heterosexual couples. If you are, and I've only seen, and this is personally, but I've only seen this in cis men. I love eating women out. I could go down on you for hours. My record, I made somebody come 37 times. I could eat you out for 5 hours. You don't even have to do anything to me. I just... Don't be that guy, okay? Because you're making it all about you. I mean, I personally love oral sex. And I don't care what gender you are. I don't care what sexual orientation you are. As long as you enjoy going down on pussies, I'm good. Like, I want to have a good time. However, I have met plenty of cis men who are like, yeah, I'll eat you out. And I want to punch them in the face because it is very clear that their cunnilingus skills are not for the benefit of their partner. They're performative. Like, look how great I am. It's notches in my belt for how many orgasms I can give you. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter really what you want. Me eating you out is all about me. And that is the biggest fucking turnoff. So stop doing that. Thank you. Okay. Anything you want to add?
Nope.
It really, I mean, have you heard those guys who were just like, they can't shut up about how good they are at oral, and you just don't do it. Okay. So before we get to,
I won't.
I just want the generic, everybody goes through it. Yes. Before we get to actual techniques and pleasing the pussy, we need to know about the pussy and the anatomy. And I recognize some of your faces here. I know some of you know this, but some people I tell this to and it blows their fucking minds. The internal clitoris, which is super important. It's that last link I dropped down in the chat on Get Vocal. And again, if you're on a simulcast station, click the link above and come on over to Get Vocal so you can get these links. So this is my pussy. It's not really my pussy. It's Clementine the Clementine. And it's a replica of a pussy. And when I say pussy, to me, it's just kind of the whole area. This here is the clitoral glands. This is the clitoral hood. Some of us have large clitoral hoods, and some of us have small clitoral hoods. We're all a little different. The outer labia here and the inner labia. So normally you may see these called in your textbooks labia majora and labia minora. I just like to say outer and inner because sometimes, majora means big and minora means small, or the thing at Hanukkah. But
can we get a labia minora this year?
Yes, I would like that. I bet you someone on Etsy makes a labia minora. I know they have to. Anyway, for some people, their labia minora is bigger and their labia majora is smaller. So it's a false narrative. We have a lot of pussy shame, and if our pussies don't look like how we think they're supposed to look, we think we're wrong and broken and then we want to go get surgery. And that's not true. They're so different. I think it's the Great Wall of Vagina. Go Google the Great Wall of Vagina. An artist plaster casted a bunch of pussies, and they are all so incredibly different. It's great to look at. So underneath here, we have the internal clitoris, and my necklace is actually a little teeny tiny internal clitoris. So what we see here, this clitoral glands, the thing, the little bean we know, we're all familiar with that we flick, that is the tip of a very large iceberg. Underneath the labia are the legs and the bulbs of the clitoris. They actually surround the vaginal opening on each side. And as we get aroused, they swell. They're erectile tissue, just like a penis gets a hard-on. That's our internal hard-on. So we don't see it happening, but that's our arousal pattern, is that internal clitoris. And if we know it's there are certain things we can do to activate that internal clitoris and to really heighten the pleasure that we're used to having, concentrate on that clitoral glands. Let's see. How in detail do I want to go? Because this is normally a 2-hour class. But
that's not for you.
No, if you eat my no, that's the wrong. That is the wrong. If you eat my puppet, I will be mad. We're gonna get taken down for violating terms of service. Anyway, I think we're good. The dangers of eating pussy. Do you want to talk about that? Which sounds horrible. It sounds like a 1985 sex ed class. Just say no to pussy.
No, I don't.
Okay, then I will. yes, a lot of people, when they perform oral sex, no matter what kind of genitals they perform it on, oftentimes they don't use barriers. It is a misnomer that, oh, you can't really get anything from, blowjobs or, giving a pussy head or whatnot. And that's not true. Granted, yes, the chances for certain things are less, but you really should be protected unless you are fluid bound with that person. And some of the most common are oral or genital herpes, which really isn't a big deal. Like, I don't know. I grew up in the 80s.
You know what's worse? Velociraptors.
Yes.
Pussy velociraptors are awful if you get them.
They are. Now, I grew up in the 80s, and before HIV and AIDS, it was like, oh no, herpes is, and then everyone's like, oh.
Before that, it was velociraptors.
Yeah. So it's not a big deal. 1 in 4 people have some form of herpes. It may be oral herpes where you get cold sores or fever blisters. It may be genital herpes, but that is one thing that you can easily give or get from somebody else. You can, HSV1 can be spread to the genitals and vice versa. So that's something to be aware of. Also HPV, human papillomavirus, which can lead in some cases to oral cancer. So be aware of that. Oh, I forgot to get my glove and my scissors. That's what I was going to do. But we're low on gloves.
Oh, we can't. Yeah,
we're low on gloves.
We can't do that on gloves.
Yeah.
You can describe it.
So I will give you a video. So
sorry, PPE gear is
yes.
sacred.
Yeah, I can't be cutting up PPE gear. So anyway, a couple things you can do. You may have heard of dental dams. They're sometimes hard to come by. They're also, to me, very small. There's been a few scientific studies on different types of saran wrap, and there was one specifically done on Reynolds saran wrap, but not the microwavable kind. And I don't know if there's a difference, but basically,
one's more permeable.
The consensus was it's not quite as good as using an actual dental dam or cutting a condom and making it into a dental dam, but it's pretty damn close. Pun, pretty damn close. So yeah, if you can easily use saran wrap, put a little lube on the whatever you're eating out, and then put it on there and go to town. You can also, and I have a YouTube video on this. I don't have the link offhand, but if you Google or if you search in YouTube my name and make a dental dam out of a medical glove, basically you not only can make a dental dam, but you use the thumb as kind of a tongue condom. So then your tongue.
You know what? Don't do it. Don't waste the PPE gear.
Unless you're actually eating somebody out, then go for it. But yeah, have safe sex if you are with a person that you're not fluid bonded with. All sorts of, let's see. Some of the things that we have to combat when we're eating somebody out.
Sore necks,
sore hands,
sore tongues.
So yeah, the positioning is important. And as I'm going through some techniques, I'm going to give you some, relief suggestions, because odds are you're not going to be able to just sit in the same position for a long time. You can definitely make it easier by using, pillows to prop over the butt, or the liberator wedges, or if you have some kind of like a high counter, or, there's all sorts of inventive things you can do to make it a little bit easier. And it is very important when you are performing any kind of external stimulation to keep a steady pace. And I'm going to repeat that quite a bit in a few minutes, but I'm starting to plant the seed already. You'll see in a lot of magazines, like, what drives her wild, 5 moves in bed that will give her mind-blowing orgasms. I hate those magazines. Do you know what drives your partner wild in bed? You know how to figure that out? You ask them. Good communication is key. And I think, a lot of us who are in sex positive, why are you laughing at me?
Crystal's message.
This is making me so horny. I know. Those of us who are in sex positive communities are more and more accustomed to talking about these things, and everybody's different. Everybody is different. And we all like slightly different things. And the things that I'm going to tell you today aren't going to be like, oh, this is the key to giving great, head to a pussy. It's like, these are moves or techniques or creative ideas you can put into your erotic portfolio, but you're the one who has to, take different things and apply it to what that specific partner likes.
They're a great tool for your toolbox, but they're not the only tool.
Exactly.
So really quick, can we talk about air embolisms really quick? I completely forgot about this. So this is one of the things that Sunny taught me about. I remember that I had no idea, even when I was an EMT and working in OBGYN, we never had anybody with an air embolism before. And I didn't know this, but you can actually, because we were doing balloon animal sex, where we would I would make dildos out of balloons, and I made sure to always put the nipple of the balloon facing outwards, because apparently if you have a balloon or even blow inside of somebody, you can cause an air embolism. And so this is especially dangerous for women that are, or for people with vaginas that are pregnant or menstruating.
Yeah. So, and I can't, as somebody with a vagina, I know this is something that when I was pregnant, it was like,
I thought you were making it up.
No, I remember you were get out. And I'm like, no, this is a thing. And I want to say that I was taught that in some sort of sex ed or something. It was before I was before I was pregnant, and I can't remember. But it's basically and I've never had anyone try to blow me up like I was a balloon. No, actually, I take that back. One person did one time. And I was like, don't do that. And it's basic. I mean,
I made you squirt once with a popped balloon. Remember that?
Right, but it popped out.
Yes.
So that's basically someone going up to your vagina and going and blowing into it.
Up like a balloon.
Yeah, don't do that. I mean, granted, air embolisms are very rare, but if they happen, they can kill you. So yeah, don't do that. And it's a random thing. That's totally true. All right. Okay, I'm communicating with you. These are moves that don't drive me wild, Waffles. Get off my lap. Okay. One of the things to talk about with your partner when you're about to have oral sex is, and granted, I recommend talking about kind of the big picture, hey, I'm ashamed about this or that, or I have things I have to work through. Talk about those outside of the bedroom when you're not in the middle of sex or not about to have sex. That's the time to have those conversations. But the conversation you should be having right before sex, aside from safer sex talk, if it's a new partner, is, hey, I'm going to go down on you. Do you want this to be the main event? Do you want it to be a little appetizer? Do you want to go to orgasm? And then, ask. Because a lot of times, you may have someone go down on you, and like me, I take a long time to come, and it's you're going to be down there for 40 minutes. I'd rather just have the conversation, maybe I'm not up for 2-hour sex tonight, So definitely have those conversations, rather than, asking, hey, is this okay? Is that okay? Do you like this? Does this feel good? Prompt, do you want me to go harder? Do you want me to go faster? Do you need it wetter? Actually suggest those things, especially if you have a partner that maybe isn't comfortable with verbalizing as much. One of the games that I love to play is I call optometrist sex. And okay. So,
our eye doctor loves it when she comes in for an appointment.
Shut up. So, if you've been with a partner for a long time, you have certain techniques, certain moves that you kind of your go-to, and you may want to experiment. You may want to be like, I want to try this weird. I want to try licking here. I want to try doing this. And I have no idea if that's going to feel good. I don't know if it's going to. So sometimes you're just like, I'm not even going to try. I'll just stick with the same shit I've been doing for the last 12 years, right? And that doesn't really encourage any evolution in the bedroom. So maybe once a month or regularly, figure out a time, have optometrist sex. That's where you get together. It's kind of like research and development night. You get together. That's when you bust out all of those weird moves that you thought about trying, but then you didn't. And you do like the optometrist. Okay, I'm going to lick this way. Okay. Do you like number 1 or number 2? And they're, ooh, I really like number 2. Okay, do that a little harder. Okay, now do you like number 2 or do you like number 3? And if you do those things with your partner on a regular basis, you can unlock different things or have permission to get creative and not feel weird about it. Definitely when you are about to have sex, depending on how squirty or juicy the person with the vagina is, I would definitely suggest throwing down a towel, a liberator throw, which is a waterproof blanket, a puppy pad, that sort of thing, just in case. Trim your nails, tie back your hair if you have long hair. Have lube available. Make sure it's a lube. I always recommend body safe lubes. What?
Nothing.
Why'd you touch me? Oh, okay.
I'm high-fiving you.
That's weird. Eileen. Wicked actually makes some great sugar-free flavored lubes that are safe for vaginas, and
diabetics.
Yes, and diabetics. They have everything from, like, I know they came out with a bunch of new ones, but they have like cappuccino and cinnamon bun and mocha, and you might be like, oh, I don't want to. They really taste good. Like, I'm actually shocked. So have a lube ready. Hand sex. We discount hand sex, and I want to talk about
discount hand sex.
It's on sale. No. A lot of times we think like, oh, hand jobs, that's a cop out. Like, you want the mouth, the hands are second rate. Why would I want to put my hand? I gotta blah, 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 blah. Use your hands. I say, whether you're performing oral on a penis, vagina, whatever, your hands can be your best asset.
And finger banging is metal as fuck.
Yes, but don't go for the whole too soon. We'll get in there in a minute. So your fingers have more dexterity. You have different sensation variations. You can really regulate the pressure and the speed and exactly what you're doing with your hands, where that's a little bit more difficult to do with your mouth. So sometimes I prefer having just hand sex. Like, maybe my mouth is there a little bit. Maybe it's not there at all. Maybe it's half and half. What are you doing?
Hand sexy.
No. External. No. Okay. So if you are getting sore, your hand sex is going to come in handy. Didn't mean that. And then they died. That was it. Hand sex will go. Get it together. Okay. There are times where your jaw's going to lock up, your neck's going to be all cricked or whatever, and you need your hands to take over. So that is a great use. When you start out having external sex, one of the things I love, like, let's say you're making out, you're so hot, man, playing with your nipples, is the pussy hug. So, put it, because I can't reach back that far. Okay, so the pussy hug. Let's say we're making out, we're doing the thing, and then I just take my hand and I put it over your pussy. Like, maybe we're face to face and I'm like this or like that, down below, holding your pussy, and I'm not moving. It's like a hug. It's a pussy hug. And I think it was either Midori or Sex Nerd Sandra that invented the pussy hug. So just a hand over there. What you're doing is you're warming up the pussy for, some contact.
Sideways, by the way.
It's fine. Because they're laying sideways. They're laying in front of me. And I'm like, oh, let me hug your pussy. So wait, their head's over there. Their head's over there. Maybe they're like this. Okay. You're also activating that internal clitoris that is underneath. as you keep making out or doing whatever you're doing, maybe you're into BDSM and you're like, twisting their nipples or whatever gets them hot, they may start to grind against you a little bit. And that's a sign like, okay, things are getting a little hot. And then maybe you can just put a little pressure, a little bit, nothing too out there, something that almost seems like nothing. But that's a great way to get all that erectile tissue online that lies under the labia.
Like Misha's comment, jazz hand jobs and spirit fingerings.
Jazz hand jobs. I like that. Hold on. I just totally lost my place in where I was going next. Hold on. Okay, so a lot of us make the mistake of going for things too soon. When it comes to pussies, different people like different amounts of pressure. Some people's clits are so sensitive. If you pull back the hood and go right for the clit, they will go through the ceiling. And maybe that's something that you never do with that person. There are other people that are like, forget all this kissing around my labia bullshit. Just go straight for my clit right away. So you really need to know your partner and what they like. If you don't know your partner and what they like, go slow. I often say when you first approach a new clitoris or a clitoris that likes things lightly, see how if you're touching your eyelashes very gently, like I'm talking that kind of pressure. I'm touching my eyelashes like it's a clitoris. That's the way you should approach. Oftentimes, if it's someone who has a larger clitoral hood, keep that hood down. Don't just like go straight for the head of the clitoral glands immediately. Oh, and don't go for the hole too soon. Those of you who have pussies have experienced this. You're like getting into the groove. You're like, yeah, maybe they're kind of, just starting to go down there. Maybe they're, fingering around, spreading open your labia, just starting to, and you're like, yeah, like, okay, yeah, are you getting horny, Crystal? Okay, they're going to go for the clit next. And maybe they play with the clit a little bit, or maybe they go down on you a little bit, and you're just starting to get into it. And then they're just like, vagina! And you're like, you just ruined everything. A lot of people who have vaginas really like to work up to, some people don't like penetration at all, or penetration at all mixed with their external stimulation. Again, some people are like external stimulation only all the time. Maybe external stimulation is fine, internal stimulation is fine, but never together. See, again, you have to know your person, right? But if you're going to go inside and that's something your partner wants, again, wait for them asking for it. It may not be verbally, but it might be like they are undulating towards you. Their hips are going, they're thrusting themselves towards you. That oftentimes is a sign, all right, it's time to go for the hole. But I often say good cunnilingus or good, external pussy stimulation is done in 3 acts. It's like a slow dance or a symphony, that sort of thing. Or like a hot and heavy high school makeout session, that just like keeps building and keeps building, but it also is kind of slow and progressive. So if we're going to divide this into 3 acts, the first act is going to be setting the tone. The second act is going to be building the pleasure. And the third act is going to be establishing the rhythm. And if orgasm is something that you want, going for the orgasm. So with setting the tone, first of all, patience is a virtue, right? We've done the pussy hug. We're just starting out. And like I said, maybe, you have a nice lubed finger. You're playing with the labia. Sometimes just tugging on just a gentle pull. Again, that's activating that internal clitoris, right? Allison Moon has a move that, what she call it? The inverted Vulcan, where you're like this over, and then you can gently squeeze with these fingers or stroke like this. You're not directly hitting the clitoral glands, but you're stimulating around it. And then as the person gets more and more like, okay, I'm getting into it. I'm making some noise. I'm doing the, yeah. Maybe you can do it a little, squeeze a little bit more with your fingers.
With lots of lube.
Lots of lube. Yeah. That's like, another thing you can do is
the Vulcan death grip.
No. Well, kind of, but no. You can actually grab. No. You can grab, and I'm not talking just like the head of the clit because that's pinchy out, but I'm talking the hood, the top part of the inner labia, like kind of that whole chunk of meat. You can sort of grab it and gently tug it, gently pull it, gently stroke it, that sort of thing. For most folks, but again, not all, you want to work your way up to getting to the clit. And depending on the person, some people might just want you to maybe lick around the labia really gently, do a lot of this stuff. For me, I'm not one of those people. I'm just like, if you're licking my labia for more than 30 seconds, I'm like, get to the clit. Like, I don't play around. But I think I'm not most people. So it's good to know your partner's body and know if they're like straight for the clit and they're wasting their time licking around your labia for 4.5 minutes, or not. So, we felt our eyelashes. Oh, do hand sanitizer, because I'm gonna have you lick your hands. So do hand sanitizer, because we're living in a germy world right now. But I want you to know, as a giver, what does that mouth do? The difference between a pointy tongue and feel it. A pointy tongue and soft flat tongue. Like the velvety soft. You want that velvety soft, especially in the beginning. Exception to that would be once you've gotten things going, you may want to do a flick with a harder tongue, but we'll get there. Also your lips, feel what I'm Karen and I don't want to see the manager lips. Don't feel very good. But the soft, kind of juicy, lazy, maybe I went to the dentist and I still got a little Novocaine, those kind of lips, that's what feels. So that's what we're going for. Keep that mouth really relaxed, sensual, velvety, wet. That's what we want to feel. Kiss the whole outside, the whole labia region, the whole vulva region, kind of like it's a mouth, like a big sloppy French kiss. We're not concentrating on the clit yet, but get everything all warmed up and ready in there.
What are your feelings on attention to the inner thighs?
I hate it.
Really?
Yeah. Tickles. Hate it.
Bites even?
Hate it.
Hate
it. But some people love it. Again, this is why you need to know your partner. For me, I'm like, get to the clit. Fuck my thighs. Fuck my labia. Fuck the little cute eyelash bullshit. Just get your tongue jackhammer on my clit immediately. That's me. But it's just the beauty of human variation. Other people, you could do that and you could be like, what the fuck are you doing? So yeah. When we get, right now, we're trying out different things, different moves, starting to work into a rhythm, but it's kind of lazy and slow, You can start to approach the clit, again, depending on the person. They might want it right away. You can do lazy circles. You can do back and forths, up and down. Sometimes just licking on the top of the clitoral hood, or taking a thumb and putting it on the top of the clitoral hood, to kind of push down the whole clitoral shaft, and then licking up, and putting that pressure. There's all sorts of things you can do. So that's the sort of the getting started. Now, once we're starting to concentrate on the clit, we're kind of getting to phase 2, which is increasing the intensity, starting to get serious, you know. And this is the point where we want to start to find our rhythm, because rhythm and consistency is super important, especially when we're closer to orgasm and we're really into it. Like, throw off that rhythm and it ruins everything. So you've seen porn, you know, where they do like, that's pretty eating out for porn. That doesn't really feel good. Again, that's that, like, the hard, weird tongue. Good cunnilingus doesn't look like this. It looks like you can't see anything.
Oh my God, you need a mask like that.
Oh, wait. Someone needs to make pussy mask. Oh my God. So yeah, good cunnilingus is like if you watch like queer feminist porn, you're not gonna see the you're gonna see like you can't see anything, and that's what you want. At that point, you can get to and we're gonna lick our hands again. If you put out your pinky and surround it with your other hand, and now you've got this. Got your nose.
What the fuck are we doing?
We're making clitorises, okay? Oh. So this, like, it's just this little thing, right? You put your whole mouth over there. You can do all sorts of things. You can get down there and suck a little, like a little mini blowjob. The clitoris has a shaft. You know, it's a clitoral gland. There's a shaft right on the inside, and then it goes to the clitoral legs and the balls. You can lube up and just a tiny jerk it off. You can give it a little blowjob. You can do all sorts of things. So definitely do that. So like I said, now we are finding our rhythm. Don't listen to that. Just do the alphabet. Bullshit. Don't do the alphabet. Don't do the alphabet. Because it's not consistent. It's just, I don't know who thought of that. Eddie Murphy, he did that in one of his stand-up skits in the 80s. I don't know. Not true. Don't do the alphabet.
Just capital Q over and over and over and over.
Yeah, like, or maybe if it's just like capital I, like up and down, sideways, like maybe. But yeah, you want to find your rhythm, find what they like. You know, before you may have been changing it up a bit, but don't change it up too quick. Don't be like, I'm going to do this for like 10 seconds, then I'm going to move on to the. Keep with each thing for a little bit, but now you want to find that rhythm. Find what you're going to be sticking with, okay? If you can combine it with a little hand, so then if you have to take a break for a second, you're like, you can continue with the hand sort of thing, so they can't really tell that you're stopping, because you're actually not.
Think about it more like you're turning around a battleship, not turning a page in a book. So you're taking your time to go all the way around.
At this point, some of the things that I really like to do, again, I'm not going inside yet. And I'm going to assume in this scenario, I'm with a partner that does like penetration. Okay. So I have my thumbs. Let me get so you can see it. Okay. I have my thumbs. Maybe I'm just doing this on the outside. Okay. Maybe I'm tugging. I like sometimes when my partner actually takes their own hand to spread everything open and hold it back so I have a clear, you know. But I might be doing this a little. If my partner is getting to the point where they're like, maybe a little penetration, I don't want to just go in there and like pound on the G-spot. A little slow. So what I've done, what I like to do, magic I don't know if this is my secret move, is I just put like the first knuckle of my thumbs inside, right? And then I just gently.
You can't, you're off screen.
Oh, sorry. And then I just gently, like, do this.
She gets rave reviews.
Or it's hard to do holding, but like I make my thumbs go like, you know, as I'm pulling it open, they're going up and down sort of thing, and pulling it open. That's fun. So I'm not really in. I'm like in the vestibule. I'm in maybe like, you know, the mudroom. But I'm not in the house. So, all right. Stage 3 is when we work that rhythm and we are coming up towards orgasm. So figure out, what it, maybe it's like I got my thumb up here and it's a flicking up and down, or it's a sucking. Or maybe it's a half suck and inside my mouth, my tongue is doing this. Also, secret, people are either left clitted or right clitted. And this is a little secret. Okay, so, and I'll do this quick because I know we got 5 minutes. All right, so if you have a clitoris, notice that there is one side of the clitoris. Usually it's like when you're really going to town and you want to come and you're like, this is good. There's you usually go to one side or the other. And I look at it as a clock. So the top is 12 o'clock, the bottom is 6 o'clock. And then was this 9 and 3? Did I do it right? Yeah.
10 and 2.
I know. I'm showing the clock, 9 and 3. I know It's 10 and 2. Okay. So most people, their spot is 2 o'clock on the clit. Don't know why. It just is. And then a large minority of people, they're 2 o'clock or they're 10 o'clock. So 10 and 2, like driving.
This is the entrance to the dorsal clitoral nerve at both of those spots.
Yes. So oftentimes I think of it as like video game, like, you're killing the big boss, you're killing the big boss. And then like you have the finishing move where you're like my finishing move is 2 o'clock. So know that, experiment with those different sides, either with yourself or get to know your partner and figure out, if they're left clitted or right clitted. At this point, now working in a rhythm, if it's a partner that likes penetration, they may want penetration. Sometimes just going in and, whether it's with a dildo, with fingers, and just like pressure on the G-spot. I'm one of those people, I don't like G-spot stimulation with external stimulation. Like they don't go together at all. It's like salmon and ice cream. Like they're both delicious, but they never belong together.
Oh, I don't know. Salmon and ice cream?
No! Maybe unless I'm pregnant. I don't know. But know that about your partner as well.
Savory.
When your partner is like, if it's orgasm scale of 1 to 10, like 1 is like, I barely feel anything. 10 is I am coming. When they get to be about a 7 or 8, that's when you want to just like lock in on whatever pattern you're doing, keep that rhythm, keep that pressure, and bring it home. A lot of people, when they feel that their partner is coming, they will go faster and harder and faster and harder. That is the best way to ruin a clitoris. I mean, not for everybody. For me, I know for a lot of people. Again, I'm not going to say all bodies are the same, but oftentimes it is, can you be ambidextrous with your pussy? That's a good question. I don't know. Anyway, oftentimes most people, you just want to, I know you could feel them coming and you get excited and you want to go faster and harder and be like, yeah, I'm going to make you come out. Don't do that. Just same as you've been doing for the last minute and a half. Same. Don't change. When they start to come, a lot of people get very, sensitive, too sensitive. I have sort of trained myself into being able to have multiple orgasms by like continuing sensitivity. Oftentimes a partner, it's like a very delicate dance. Like I can do it to myself. If a partner can do it, it's very, so for me, it's sort of like, okay, when the orgasming is happening, maybe, and it's happening, like it's been, I'm in the thick of it to the point where you would normally be like, get off. Then it's like, keep doing the thing, but lighter. Now it's that back to that eyelash again, but stay there. And oftentimes once you work through that sensitivity for like 20, 30 seconds, suddenly your clit has a brand new life and you're like, give it to me harder. And you may come to orgasm number 2. So try playing around with that.
It's 9 o'clock.
It is. Oh, it's 9 o'clock already. Okay, cool. There's more. Like this is normally a 2-hour class with like lots of exercises but this is the condensed version. So Crystal's horny, I think still. I don't know how many of you are, but go do your homework. Experiment around. You know, seeing these live streams is a great reason. It's a great door opening to be like, hey, partner, maybe you're watching it together. Or if you're not, be like, hey, my partner, what? I don't know what's happening.
Look at Waffles just got me.
A tampon. Great. It's like, I know. Thank you. I don't know where you found that. Anyway, it's a great way to start that conversation. Like, hey, I stumbled across this live stream on Twitter and they were talking about pussy pleasing and experimenting and optometrist sex. And do you want to do that? And boom, I've just gave you the reason to communicate with your partner and have more mind-blowing sex. So there you go. Thank you. Anyway, this has been awesome. American Sex Live, Sunny Megatron.
Ken Mecklenburg.
We'll be back Wednesday night again, which is I don't know, it's the 2nd, 5th maybe, the 5th or 6th, something like that. Next Wednesday, first Wednesday in August, we'll be back with more. And then tune in every Monday for American Sex Podcast on all your podcast players. This week we talked to the duo behind the Two Girls One Mic podcast about porn reviewing. It was so
funny,
hilarious. I was editing and I was laughing to tears. And I'm like, I've heard this conversation. It was really funny. So thanks, everyone. I'm going to end the recording. So those of you who are on the simulcast stations, if you want to hang back and talk pussy, come on over to bit.ly/sunnygetvocal or click the link that's in the text right above wherever you're watching us. Come on over and let's hang out and talk whatever, pussy or whatever we're going to talk. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Vagina.